All right, let's jump into another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking all about Cathy Wood's thoughts on Palantir and the future of AI. We're always trying to break down those complex ideas and make them really easy to understand, and I think you guys are really going to like this one. We're going to be looking at how crazy fast AI is growing, the whole open versus closed AI model thing. And, Wood makes this pretty wild prediction about Palantir that I don't think anyone saw coming.
It's amazing how Wood connects these things that you wouldn't think go together at all. It's like she's got this big map of the future of AI, and she's showing us exactly where it's all headed.
So let's start with ChatGPT, because that's
Yeah.
a great example. Wood points out that building a model like that cost like $500 million back in 2015, but now it's only a few $100. AI training costs are dropping like 75% every year. It's insane. It reminds me of when the internet first started.
And that's a good comparison because this could change everything, for businesses and for all of us, really.
For sure. And she actually talks about the internet when she compares open and closed AI models. It's kind of like open source software where everyone can mess around with it versus closed software where it's all locked down. What blew my mind is that open source models are getting better faster than the closed ones,
Yeah.
even though they're not as good right now.
Yeah, that's super interesting. It makes you think that maybe AI won't just be controlled by a few big companies after all.
Totally. Like
Yeah.
maybe the little guys will have a chance to play too. Wood calls this whole thing between open and closed models a big battle, and she even says she's not sure who's going to win.
Yeah, it really feels like a battle, especially with companies like Meta with their Llama model and OpenAI with GPT-4 all going head to head.
Okay, so let's switch gears and talk about Palantir. Wood really thinks Palantir could be the biggest AI company in the world, based on what their CEO, Alex Karp, has been saying and how well the company has been doing.
That's a pretty big statement when you think about all those tech giants already doing so much with AI.
Right, so how does she figure?
Well, you gotta look at what Palantir actually does. They're all about making data work better and helping big companies streamline things. Wood's point is that companies are starting to realize that they need AI for everything, not just a few specific things.
So Palantir is like the one-stop shop for any company that wants to go all in on AI.
Exactly. And that brings us to Wood's investment philosophy. She's big on this idea of following the developers. Basically, see where the best AI talent is going, and that's where the future is.
It's so simple, but it makes so much sense. If the smartest people are working on something, it's probably going to be big.
She compares it to an athlete, scanning the field, making quick decisions. There's so much noise out there, so you got to be able to focus.
I love that analogy.
Mm.
And she's not afraid of making mistakes either. She says that's just part of the game when you're investing, especially in something as fast-moving as AI.
Yeah, and that's what I think is so cool about her. She's not trying to be perfect. She's just trying to learn and adapt and keep moving forward.
I like that. It's like a good mindset to have, especially with AI changing so much all the time.
Absolutely. It's like she's saying, don't be afraid to take a swing, even if you miss sometimes.
All right, well, I definitely feel like we've gotten a good look at how the price of developing AI has just fallen off a cliff, which is making it way more accessible for everyone. We dug into that whole open versus closed AI model thing, which is super interesting. And of course, we can't forget about Wood's bold prediction about Palantir and her really cool approach to investing. I'm ready to hear more about how his strategy works in the wild west of AI.
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways here is that AI is not just about, ones and zeros. It's about people. The folks creating it, the ones coming up with those wild ideas, they're the ones who are going to shape what AI actually becomes.
It's all about that human element, those brilliant minds that are writing the code. And in the next part, we're going to keep digging into Cathy Wood's investment strategies and what they tell us about the future of AI. Stay tuned.
So we were talking about Cathy Wood's investment philosophy and how she approaches the world of AI. One of her big things is this whole idea of talent migration, like watching where the smartest AI people are going and kind of following them.
Yeah, I love that she calls it following the developers.
Yeah.
It's like if you want to know what's going to be huge, just look at where the people building it are working.
It's pretty genius, right? Everyone else is chasing the hype, and she's just watching the people who are actually shaping the industry. And it fits perfectly with how she invests in general. She says it's like being an athlete, You got to be able to scan the field and make decisions fast.
Yeah, don't get caught up in all the distractions. Just focus on what matters.
Exactly. And just like an athlete, you're not going to make every shot.
Yeah.
Wood's not afraid to admit that sometimes she gets it wrong. She says that's just part of investing, especially in a field like AI where things change so quickly.
I can definitely relate to that. You can't be right all the time. It's more about learning from your mistakes and adapting.
Yeah. That's a really important point. Innovation is messy. There are going to be times when you try something and it doesn't work. But the people who succeed are the ones who can learn from those mistakes and adjust their course.
So how do we apply that to our own lives? AI is changing so fast, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah, it's a tough question. I think the biggest thing is to never stop learning. The skills that are hot today might be totally useless tomorrow, so you got to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah, it's like we're in this race against the machines, always trying to learn new things and stay relevant. But it's not just about learning how to code or something,
Right.
right?
It's about those core human skills too, like critical thinking, creativity, problem solving. Those are the things that AI can't do, at least not yet.
So it's like learning how to think better, how to come up with new ideas, how to solve problems in a world that's constantly changing.
Exactly. We need to figure out how to use AI to our advantage, not just be replaced by it.
I think that's a really positive way to look at it. It's not about being scared of AI. It's about learning how to work with it and use it to do amazing things. We don't know what the future holds, but we can definitely prepare for it by learning new skills and being open to change.
Well said. We got to be brave, be curious, and remember that we have the power to shape the future of AI.
I love that. And I think that's a perfect segue into the final part of our deep dive. We've talked about how fast AI is growing, the open versus closed model debate, the potential of Palantir, and Cathy Wood's investing style. Now let's wrap things up by talking about what all of this means for us as individuals and how we can navigate this AI-powered world. Okay, so let's look back at what we've talked about today. We've gone over how insanely fast AI is developing, that whole open versus closed model thing, how Palantir might become a major player, and Cathy Wood's way of investing. It's been a lot.
It really has. We've dug deep into the tech side of things, the algorithms and the data and all that. But I think there's something we haven't talked enough about. Us, the humans.
Yeah, you're right. It's easy to forget that AI is something we created. It's a tool for us.
Exactly. And that takes us back to what Wood said about talent. It's those brilliant people, the developers, who are really shaping what AI is going to be. Their ideas, their creativity, that's what's going to decide how AI impacts the world.
That's why we need to support those people. We need to make sure the next generation of AI innovators have the skills and the understanding to do this right. It's not just about writing code. It's about building the future.
It really is. We need to stop thinking about AI as just some cold technical thing. It's about our values, our ethics, and the kind of future we want. AI should be working for us, not the other way around.
So here's the big question. How do we get ready for a future where AI is everywhere? Things are changing so quickly, it's kind of overwhelming.
That's the question everyone's asking. And honestly, there's no easy answer. But one thing's for sure, we have to keep learning, always. What you know today might not be relevant tomorrow, so you got to stay ahead of the curve.
I love that. Lifelong learning. It's all about being curious, adaptable, and always pushing yourself.
Exactly. The skills that got you to where you are today won't necessarily get you to where you need to be tomorrow. The people who thrive in the future are going to be the ones who keep learning and growing.
And it's not just about learning tech stuff. It's about those human skills that AI can't do. Critical thinking, creativity, emotional intelligence, problem solving, all of that.
Yeah, those are the skills that make us human, and those are the skills that will be even more valuable in an AI-driven world. We need to learn how to work with AI, use it as a tool to do incredible things.
I think that's a really hopeful message. We shouldn't be afraid of AI. We should be excited about the possibilities. It's all about learning, adapting, and using this technology to create a better future.
Well said. Embrace the change, be bold, be curious, and keep your eye on those talented developers that are leading the way.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Cathy Wood's vision of AI. Stay curious, keep learning, and we'll see you next time.